Okay, so let me go ahead and show you around the back end here a little bit. You'll see that there's a few menu items across the top up here. You'll see there's a tutorial here on how to set up your Twilio account, and then also explains how to set the software up, which I'm about to give you right now too. And of course you got a dashboard, which is right here on the same numbers button. So by this point, you've got access to the software with at least one number. We sell multiple lines or multiple number packages, and so if you just got access to the software, we would have some email communication back and forth where you provided us your phone number and we would set the system up for you, and then you would come to this screen where your number's already programmed in here. Then of course, if you bought one of the multiple lines, you would have the ability to add additional numbers, and you can do that by either managing your own Twilio account, or in some cases we actually provide a full service where we take care of all of it, do all the Twilio and everything for you. But nevertheless, you also have a menu over here on the left hand side. Let me explain all these real quick. Right now we're under the numbers section. We just have all your numbers listed if you have more than one. You have the recording area, and this will list all the recorded phone calls that you get and voicemails that you get. They will all be listed right here so you can listen to the calls. You have a library here. Now the library is a really cool built-in feature for you to be able to create your greetings or your instructions when they press 1 or press 2 or press 3. You can record your own messages in there, or if you would like, you'll see here in a moment where you can use the computer animated voice and do either one of them. You have your My Settings button here, which is kind of like your admin area, your account details. If you ever need to change any of this information, you can, or if you would like to change your password, you can do that as well too. And then of course you have the logout button. So let me go ahead and show you the library first, and the reason I'm doing that is I'm assuming that you will want to create your own messages. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these example ones I was playing around with a minute ago, and I do want to show you the library first and how to do the recordings first, because that's really cool and awesome features. But let me show you one other aspect of it real quick, and that is these 5 buttons here. Of course, delete button you'll never use unless you're deleting one of your lines. This right here is a call log with just a quick version to see the numbers that were called and the numbers that called you, and just a list of them, the time and date and all that good stuff. This code right here is a code that is actually installed in Twilio that makes it work. This wrench button is setting it all up, and then this button right here, you're going to want to just provide it a name that's associated with that number, especially if you have multiple lines. Whether you want the recorded the voice animations, if you want it to be in a man or woman's voice, you can change that here. And then of course this product is used all over the world, and we have multiple different languages here that those automated voices can be made in. And so anyway, so I'm just going to save that there because it's already what I want. And then let me come in here to this little wrench button. This little wrench button is where you program everything. And here in just a moment, we're going to go through all of this kind of step by step. And I'll try to be as quick as I can. Give a few minutes to try to give you all the details. So knowing in advance that I'm going to want to record my own greetings versus using the automated voice system, that's why I'm going to go back and do those recordings first, and then I simply can connect those at the appropriate time when we're going through here. And so right now we're on home. It's important to recognize when you're on home, or if you're on some of these other key presses, okay? The important part about that is we have the ability to do deep linking, and what we mean by that is if you're on home and if people dial that number or your number and you have a greeting saying thank you for calling, press 1 to go to this department, press 2 to go to that department, press 3 to go to that department, you want to make sure that when you're setting up the press 1, press 2, press 3, that you always come back to home and then you do the second one. And then when you're done programming the second one, then you want to come back home and then do the third one. Okay? The reason that's important is because if you don't come back to home and you just click on 1 and you set up that press 1, and then if you just click on 2 and go to that press 2, And then if you come to 3 and press 3, well, that's called deep linking. In other words, what would happen there is people would dial your number, and then if they pressed 1 within sight of that key press, like say it's press 1 was go to my billing department, and then you played a message in there. Thank you for reaching our billing department. To speak to Alice, press 1. To speak to Jane, press 2. And so that's deep linking. That's other key presses within sight of a hierarchy, so to speak. And so what I want to do, because I've been playing around with these buttons real quick, is I actually want to back out of it. I don't want to save any of this. So let me just hit delete action. I'm sorry. Just hit the big red button right in front of us there, huh? Click on that. Does that let me delete it? Yes. I'm going to click on this and delete it again, and click on this one and delete it also. So it should be starting from scratch here. And so what we want to do, when people dial the number, you have a choice of what happens when that phone number picks up, right? You can either play a greeting, or you can just flat out forward it to a phone number, or you can have them leave you a voicemail. And so in most cases, you're going to want to play a message. Now, whether that is the automated generated computer voice reading whatever you text in this box here, or put as in text in that box, or if you record your own file, then you'll just attach that file. And so let's go ahead and do this. This is just an example, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I would suggest that, of course, when you're going through setting this up for yourself, you go ahead and put all the thought behind it necessary, that it makes sense for your business. And so just to try to speed up the pace that we're going on here so this video is not super long, I'm going to go ahead and take some shortcuts, but I want to try to explain the gist behind it all, and then of course when you're setting it up you can go into the full-blown details of exactly how you want it to be. Okay, so, and this is where I'm going to go back to recording my pre-recorded calls here. And then I want you to notice one other thing real quick before we do that, and that is once you pick your greeting, right, people will hear that greeting, and then we're also going to set up a couple of key presses. And so then basically you leave this right here, post action response can end, no big deal there. And then if they call, right, and you have a press 1, press 2, press 3, and the person that's calling you pauses, if they wait too long, well then this right here is a message that says, hey, are you still there? And what we typically do at that point is we just copy and paste our press 1, our press 2, our press 3 right behind that. And that way if they pause for however long you set it, this is 1 second here, I usually set it for 3 or 4 seconds. If they pause for 3 or 4 seconds, then it will say, hey, are you still there? Press 1 for this department, press 2 for that department, and so on. And then this box down here is if they enter an invalid number. Say you have press 1 through press 4 and they enter 17. Well, that doesn't make any sense to the system, so it will reroute them. It'll just say, hey, you pressed an invalid extension, and you can press 1 to do this, press 2 to do that. So I'm trying to explain that to hopefully help it make a little more sense. And so I'm going to go ahead and go over to the recording or the library now and record a few examples, and then we'll come back in and plug those in. So under library here, I'm going to hit record. Hey, thank you for calling Dial Caller. This is an example. Press 1 to go to this department. Press 2 to go to that department. Press 3 to go here. And press 4 to go somewhere else. Then you hit pause. You name this. This is example 1. And you hit save and play. And it's going to save it, and then it will play it back so you can hear it. Assuming you like it, you can leave it. If you don't like it, hey, thank you for calling Dial Caller. This is an example. Just press 1 to go to this department. Press 2 to go to that department. Press 3 to go here. And press 4 to go somewhere else. Then you hit pause. Okay, and for now, that's good enough. I mean, you'll understand more about the structure that you need for your business. And I would recommend go ahead and recording all of these, and then it's easy for you to just attach them to it a little later. And so at this point, I would also go ahead and record the press 1, press 2, press 3, press 4, however many you got, those messages. So what happens is when someone presses 1, generally speaking, you're probably going to forward it to somebody else, right? Maybe it's somebody in a department, or maybe it's maybe the owner of the company. You want to forward it to their phone number. Maybe you want to forward it to the installation manager or his phone number. Maybe you want to forward it to the sales guys. And so, because it's a forwarding action there, you typically, it's going to take 1 or 2 or 3 seconds maybe. And so while it's that 2 or 3 seconds is taking place, at the very beginning of that, it will say your call is now being forwarded to something, right? And so I always record those in advance too. So let's go ahead and do that. Your call is being forwarded to our billing department. And so I'm just renaming it for that department. Your call is being forwarded to our billing department. Okay. Let's go ahead and do another one. Your call is being forwarded. I reset it because I messed it up. Your call is being forwarded to our customer service department. Your call is being forwarded to our customer service department. Okay, and for the sake of time, that's all I'm going to create for right now. So let's go back into and actually start setting it up, and that is under your numbers. Come over to this wrench again, and we're on the home. Up here's your menu, your call structure, tree structure, so to speak. And when someone dials our phone number, I want it to play a message. And in this case, I want to play one of our audio files. And you come over here, click on the library, and I want to attach my first greeting, which in this case I named example. Okay, end, post action response, just end. Okay, I'm going to bump this up to about 4 seconds, 3 or 4 seconds, whatever you want. And so in here, are you still there? Press 1 for the billing department. Press 2 for the customer service department. Of course, you can make these whatever you want. And it would be press 3 for whatever, right? And press 4 for whatever. Okay, I think you kind of get the idea there. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy this because it just kind of keeps it straight. Now you can also play audio files. I would say this is another thing I was saying earlier. Go ahead and record all your audio files first, right? And so on this one right here, I should have recorded one that said, sorry, you have entered an invalid extension. Please press 1 for everything else, right? Or press 2 and press 3. In this case, I'm going to leave it read as text because I didn't record anything there. And then so from this point right here, I'm just going to hit save down here. Right, that's about all. I got my greeting plan. After 4 seconds, if they don't press 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, they'll say, hey, are you still there? And then remind them to press it. And as a matter of fact, you can do the same thing here. You can play an audio file, right, which I always recommend. Just upload the audio file of that. And the same thing here. You can do the audio file, which is what I'd recommend. Or if you want, if you're not comfortable doing the recording, you can have the automated voice do it. But long story short, let me get back off of these. This one's text. This one's text for now, and just hit save. Okay, so the very first greeting is set up. Now, of course, we need to go back in and set up the press 1, press 2, press 3, right? So at this point, we're on the home screen. We want to come into 1. And so from 1, we'll have a few more options here. We can either play another message, we can forward it to another number, or any number of numbers. We can record a message, or have the person calling you leave a voicemail, or we can repeat our menu or go back to the previous menu or in the call, right? And so in most cases, you guys will probably use a forward, or well, if you're going to set up a deep linking, you can play another message to tell them to press 1, 2, 3, or 4, or whatever again. Or you can forward it to a number, or you can have them leave you a voicemail. So in this case, we're going to have them. I'm going to forward it to a few different numbers here. I'm just making numbers up. This is 1, 2, 1, 4, 633, 21, 31, or something. I don't know. I'm just making numbers up, right? You always want to make sure you have the plus. I'm sorry, not the plus, but the 1 in front of it. If you hit enter, you just click off of that, and then if you need it to ring another number, so what it will do is it'll ring these numbers simultaneously, and the first one to pick up is the one who gets the call. So for instance, if you're forwarding this to salespeople, you can forward it to ring all your sales guys, and the first one who picks it up gets the call, right? So you can enter multiple numbers here, as many as you need. Go ahead and continue on. Long story short, so this caller ID function is really awesome. I haven't seen it work a lot, but I'm eager for Twilio to figure that out. This is built into the system, although it's in a beta for Twilio, so it doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it does, but nevertheless, what this will do is the caller ID. So a person is calling your number, and especially if you're running multiple lines and you have all of them forwarding to, like, say, your cell phone, you can set up a caller ID here of whatever you want it to be, and then when you see that caller ID come across on your phone, you'll know that it came from a certain number or a certain business, right? Now, like we said, that's in beta for Twilio. It doesn't always work. If you try it and it doesn't work, please don't submit a support ticket. It's Twilio's working through the details on that. Now here's another cool feature, is we have the ability to record every phone call you get, and then within 30, or not even 30 seconds, heck, within 10 or 15 seconds, after the voicemail is left, or after the call comes through and is hung up on, or hangs up, you will get an email of the entire message that's recorded, right? So enter in whatever you want here for your email address, right? Wherever you want this recording to go, make sure you click on Enable Recording here, and it will email it out to that email address. And then this down here is, say they've already pressed 1 to go to my billing department, and so I can either type in something here for the system to read to tell them, hey, it's going to the billing department, or I can attach my message that I made for billing, right? So pow. You got to click on the word there, and then hit save. And so now you can come back to home, and we're going to set up press 2. And then press 2, this one right here, I also want to forward to a number. I'm going to forward this one to my customer service number, 121465 whatever, right? Just forward into that number. I can try to set up caller ID again, maybe it'll work. Do my, I want the email to be sent to whatever, typically the business owner's email address, so he can listen to all the recordings. Same thing here. I'm going to click to play my audio file that I already created. This one was customer service. Hit save. And so because this video is already super long, I'm going to stop there. Of course, you have the always come back to home if you're just doing up your first home level, your home level, press 1, press 2, press 3, right? And that's pretty much it. I mean, every time I'm going to go and do one more real quick, come back to home where I am already, go to 3, and then of course you would have the ability to choose, right? Either play the message forward, you can have them record a message, email recording to that same thing, right? This is basically just a voicemail that you would get. Recording max, there is a limit on it, or no limit on it. It can be as long as you want it. Recording, if they press 0, sometimes at the end it says press 0 to hang up. Pre-record a message again. You can either type it out or, hey, please leave sorry no one was able to come to the phone now. Please leave a voicemail or something to that effect, right? And then after they leave the message, you can tell them thank you for leaving your message. Press 1 to hang up, or press 2 to go to billing. Press 3 to do whatever. And then after that record, you can record another message that's just giving them further guidance. So it's a really robust system here on how it works. You can also always come in here and look at the tutorials. And if you ever have any support ticket questions at all, you're certainly welcome to send us an email for support, and we typically answer those within 24 hours. Thank you very much. Enjoy the software. It makes Twilio so easy to use, you're going to love it. Have a great day.